Alright.
I voted, but holy shit, what a joke of a poll. Now, running awards are a bit of a poison chalice. Generally people like them and they're a little bit of fun. But there is also bound to be people who throw a wobbler and give you a load of stick. They've not been included, their mate wasn't mentioned, they don't like the format, they don't think the opinion of those voting is of any value.
Which is a little bit of a funny one, because it's the public that actually buy the skates, buy the clothes and watch the edits. Let them have a say,
Now to me, people who think polls are the be all and end all of everything can be put in the same group as people that go out of their way to complain and moan about them.
The funniest ones are the people that complain at the beginning, but then when they realise they're actually in with a chance of winning, they backtrack really quickly and end up campaigning more than anybody else to try and win the thing.
One Mag have put together some awards this year. If you go on their website, you can go back to 2008 to see Skater of the Year. They had a few missed years here and there. And then since about 2013, they've been doing a range of categories. Now, a fair few people have kicked off, and it all seems to be in one's direction, which isn't completely fair. This poll is lackluster. How out of touch are you?
One selected the categories, and at the beginning of December, they left it completely open for people to suggest anybody they wanted. You could suggest yourself, you could suggest a bloke from the chippy, you could suggest your dog. And if enough people said it, they would make the top 3, which then went forward to the final vote. And this is where most of the complaints have come from, the options that are now available. And the funniest thing is, we've only got ourselves to blame because we picked the damn things. Did One Mag just not advertise this first stage well enough, or were people not active enough to get their opinions forward? I don't know. But this is where we're at, and knowing that's the format, just take it for what it is. It's a bloody free-for-all, man. Decide whether you want to play the game or not and how much it means to you. I'm not going to go through every single category. I am going to go through a few though, chat about them and maybe suggest how it could have been done slightly differently. Spotty, Blader of the Year. 2 great comebacks.
And one of the greatest backtracks in rollerblading ever. A lot of people are blowing a gasket about this one. It's by far the most contentious one. Personally, I was expecting to see Levy, Don Bruce, Bellino. Roscoe should be made the franchise champ or something. Every year he is blading. He should be winning something. Still setting the standards after all this time. It's unbelievable. Always on top.
Nils and Lomax definitely could have been on this as well.
There was a fair few comments asking where Eugen was. I mean, it would just seem like people must have missed the first stage. From this list, I'd go Bellino. I talked about it in my greatest comeback ever vid. He had the Frankie Morales Invitational win, second at the Blade Cup, he got a pro skate, he had LTE and 2 easy edits, he had the mesmerizing edit, which was incredible, amazing range and variety in there, all performed at elite levels, lots of raw energy matched with unbelievable control and style. Bellino for the win. Breakout Blader. Now this is a little bit of an odd one. The winner of last year's breakout on both One Magazine and B Mag had such a great breakout last year that they're actually back in the voting for it again.
This is where one should have jumped in and vetted it before this final stage. I mean, he won it last year. The thing is, being serious about it, that's a place that's been lost for somebody maybe who really did deserve it, who really did have a great breakout year. Not to say he didn't have a great year, he had a friggin' amazing year, which is why his name's mentioned in a few other categories, but somebody else who wasn't nominated last year, maybe.
Yandriel actually got 3rd on B-Mag last year, and I also think Tree had quite a presence last year as well.
If the first stage is a complete free-for-all, it needs moderation at some point. Would have been cool to see someone like Sioa on there, Danny Malm, Tom Barrio.
Chris Edwards' Most Positive Blader Award.
Chris Edwards is still alive, so shouldn't he be picking the winner? I think these options are fairly good, so no massive complaints, but there is quite a lot of positive people in rollerblading.
Would have been nice to see Robbie Pitts in there. Man, he is always in the comment section, spreading loads of positivity. Also B3 with his blade school, that's pretty positive. What about Miguel Ramos, man? Always positive. Good for the soul, great outlook on skating and life. Best social media, this is a little bit of a controversial lineup, as one of these accounts definitely has some suspicious fluctuations in followers, both up and down. Demetrius George definitely had a presence on social media, carries a lot of interest from his past. people excited to see him back and pushing himself. From these three, I'd go with Ilya. He has the higher engagement and he goes beyond like just his incredible skating talent. He's really funny, he always keeps it entertaining. Also, he's young and it's going to be far more in tune with like social media and trends, and that's going to appeal to a younger crowd as well, which is like definitely lacking in rollerblading at the moment. Again, another one where Lomax definitely wouldn't have been out of place in these top three. And personally for me, when Broskow's little face appears in that storybar, best event that happened.
A lot of people jumped in on this one and were like, what about a Bossy Pope skate off? Hey man, what about Capital Rollers, man?
I'd go Blading Cup. It's more than just a competition. There's so much stuff that happens around it. I'm also basing it off the names that actually took part in the competition and the amazing public visibility it has. Brand of the year. This is a little bit of a stinker. Razors.
Bruh.
Razors, really? Solomon probably did as much as Razors when they were randomly sending people shoes and hats.
You could just list all the brands for the final stage. Don't even have that first stage, just list them all. Go straight to that. Mesmer are new and really exciting, owned by John and Billy. They've also got loads of other skaters involved in everything they do, like the animations, the filming, the design on the bottom of the sole plate. Really good. Billy was saying great things. It sounds like he's really got his head screwed on and he's saying the stuff that like you want to hear from like skater owned companies. But like, it's tough, really tough comparing them to like them skates, which is an absolute beast. Like, they're doing so much good stuff. They're setting the standards in terms of royalties. They're out there doing amazing collaborations, first with like Intuition, then with Brain Dead. They're visible like all over the place on like High Snobriety, List. Feels just like them skates are more tapped into what like people actually believe in and what people think.
The marketing award. What was Rosie's marketing? Those little Polaroid sneak pics. Nothing else really stands out to me. Like, their best marketing was Ilya, and that was just him being himself, doing the content he would normally do for his own Insta. Mesmer has a really strong and clear aesthetic that is consistent through like absolutely everything they do, so that really stood out. But again, them is just an absolute monster. Had the collabs, being transparent about royalties, setting the trends there, the billboards. It'd be cool to see either of them to win. Say if them get the brand of the year, Mesmer should get marketing. The edit of the year, section of the year. Another big contentious one.
Before I seen the options, I was expecting to see Don Bruce Fifth Floor, Levi Van Ryn Plastic Pushers 2, John Bellino Mesmer Rising. I was kind of hoping that like Robbie Pitch would get some recognition as well for Full Spiral, Danny Beer Fired Up, Cody Lampman, Jeff Phillip, Nils Storm, actually, that's a really good one.
I think you probably need a bit more flexibility with the format so you can have more options for categories like this.
It'd be cool to list a ruck of edits that came out this year, even just to like nod to the skaters for doing a fair good job and getting out there and putting the effort in. People have also been flapping about Concrete Circus not being included, so we kind of need a clear cut-off date. We either do the full year and then don't do the awards until January, or we cut it off at some point in December. If you're smart, you release an edit in November. Stay in people's mind, because people seem to forget what happened at the beginning of the year. We need midterms. We need like a midterm check-in on what's happened in the first 6 months.
Blading Voice of the Year. The voice of rollerblading.
That title is a little bit lofty, man. Like, this person is the one voice, the one authority in rollerblading. Ooh. My squeaky voice could potentially be the voice of rollerblading. What? No, it says media at the beginning, but if you're saying voice of rollerblading, I think you should consider people like Julio and Billy O'Neill, especially off the back of those interviews. They're just like, they say and do great things, man. They've got their minds in the right place. I like what they're saying and I like their vision. Also, you've got to include people like Mushroom Blading, surely, man. They talk about all sorts of things. They cover all areas. They cover like commentary and the old school stuff. They've got their own brands going. They also do reviews. That's a voice. That's a voice of rollerblading. Would be pretty funny if the Blading Voice of the Year had said rollerblader's names wrong.
By Martin Grade is so cool, man.
Another pro, them 99, and this one's for Pat Ryder.
I'm guilty of it as well. I also just make up words, mate. I don't even say zest, I say zest slide. Zesty. Woo! Zesty, man. Bit of a sting to it. Ooh, sharp. Sounds better. I'm having it. Blading voice of the year sounds far too important to me. Like YouTube channel of the year, a little bit less heightened. I think that'd be quite a cool one. You could even have like a separate thing for people who do interviews as well. Mostly, it's meant to be a bit of fun. It's a nice one-to-one blade mag for actually like putting this on and doing it for all the years past as well. It is of course very easy for me to stand here and go, oh yeah, you should have done this, you should have done that. But like, I'm not trying to slag anybody off, it's just good to have the discussion, isn't it? I think having a public vote, allowing the people to have their champion is totally valid, you know. We're the ones buying the skates and all the gear and watching all the edits. Surely we're allowed a little bit of a say. And I also think it'd be cool to have like a bunch of experts or like a selected panel choosing their winners as well. That'd be really cool. If it's going to be a complete free-for-all to begin with, and you can suggest anybody, there definitely needs to be a stage where there's some moderation. Man, you can't just be going, yeah, they're top 3, let's go. Man, that clearly didn't work this time. Clear cut-off times. Jan 1st to December 31st. If it's within that, it's counting for that year's awards. And then we just do it all in January. You could also take a risk, stick your neck out, risk a little bit of kickback, because that's what's going to happen anyway. People are always going to complain no matter what. So it's going to come at some stage or other. You know, pick your 5, pick your 4. 3 seems a little bit limited. So like 4 or 5, and then just go, look, these are the final choices. We've decided this based on blah, blah, blah. There you go, like it or lump it, get involved. You could even have an extra option, which is just a text field, and go like, yeah, you know, if we've missed one out, you suggest it. How do you work out who's on the expert panel? Ideally, you'd want like a group of people that weren't particularly associated with any brand, but had some sort of presence. You could gauge that they'd actually been watching rollerblading throughout the year, so you know they're not just coming in at the last minute, or they're a little bit out of touch with things. So they've got to be in touch with it. But how do you find those people? The varying formats have their pros and cons. It's good that we've got one going. It is just meant to be a little bit of a laugh and a little bit of fun. It would be really cool though, you know, if we could like work out one that everybody's happy with. Almost impossible to do, I reckon, but one that pro rollerbladers think is legit and they're really proud. They're like, oh my god, look at this, I put loads of effort, can't believe I've won this. This person selected it, like I really trust them. If they won Spotty Dog Botty Blader of the Year, they're like, oh yeah man, no way, I can't believe I won this one, this one's legit, blah blah. Should I do one for the last year? If people don't have like voting fatigue or poll fatigue, yeah, I'll consider it. Let me know in the comments below if you want me to do it. Spotty Dog.